To the stream. My name is Lee. Those of you who don't know me, hi. I'm your local gender weirdo, etc. It's not Pride technically anymore. Well, it's Disability Pride. Uh, Worst I got's ADHD, so I'm not terribly um bad on that front. But you know, don't don't knock people just because they're not as able as you are. I guess. Um, yeah. I'm trying to close down the Tiltify campaign for Trans Lifeline, and I cannot figure out how to do. There's a button that you hit to retire it, and I cannot figure out where that button is, and I'm tired and hot. So we'll just let it sit for a little bit. Um, and yeah, that's about what I got. Welcome on in. I It is tournament time, so welcome on to the tournament. That's what I was doing a lot today was tournament stuff, and then also just napping and tired, and there's stuff I'm supposed to be doing, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it is. So, yeah, no, there's that. Um, but all my payments are basically those three. I just have to do the bill and then rent. So, but that's I have internet and rent, two bills left for the month, and all the other stuff's paid down, and I have a little bit extra because I got some birthday money and can do some fun things. Although I've already done a lot of fun things, so try not to do too many fun things. Um, it is hot and icky out, and I don't like it. And that's about it. Just ugh. I have water Gatorade mix and ice, and it's pretty tasty. Because I'm gonna have to go. I have to walk to the bus stop later, and I don't have a hat, so yeah, I lost my baseball style cap, so I gotta find. Maybe I can find my builder's hat, and then that'll help keep the sun off my head. I'm getting my hair cut on Tuesday, so that's fun. Saturday is 4th of July in protest. I don't know if we're working tomorrow because it's God's Paycheck Day early, which usually means there's a federal holiday at some point, and I think that's a I don't know. People get Friday off because it's like 4th of July, but usually get 4th of July off. But because 4th of July is on a weekend, you get Friday off and or Monday. Um, I don't know if we get it off or not, so that's fun. But anyway, it's hot and icky out, and computer of course generates heat while it runs, so that is not great. But um, well, come on in. What was I going to say? Oh yes. So I was thinking that today we could do something fun. I don't know what we're doing for this fun, but we'll figure it out. We had the Book of Lost Spells. That was from that's um, appendix on um, um, religion, National Religion Survey, because apparently religion isn't just one of those things they ask on census questions. So there's a lot if you're looking for like demographic data about religious groups in the area. Apparently, it's really hard to find. I learned that trying to prove a point to a friend about living in a large Jewish community. Anyway, point being, community. No, what we want to do is do something fun and interesting on stream, which is exciting. Let's do. Don't know. All right, yeah, we're gonna do an ad break. I'm gonna get some coolant for the computer because Thornton's is hot enough for me, and poor computer is also hot. So, um, yeah, coolant for the computer. Um, More liquid for me, maybe. Couldn't hurt. And uh, then we can spend 45 minutes doing shenanigans, and then I'll go take a nap because I have to go pick up my prescription, and I forgot before it's just late to stream. So let's do that. That is the plan. I think that's a sensible plan. Um, I think maybe we'll go Arcana. You know what? I'm gonna dig up Arcana because we haven't done that in a while, and I am. Is this one? Oh yeah, that's the publishing. I could do that, but yeah, no. Let's go look up Arcana. See if we can find Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Okay, yeah. That's after. That's for a little bit. Let's coolant for me and the computer first. Alright, let's. Hello. Oof, perfect timing. Hello. Oh, I'm gonna close. No, it's just a second. Okay. Seconds to fix this too. Hello and welcome back, by the way. Oh, alright. Room is a little bit cooler. Oh, the air conditioner in the other room. And 68's a little on the low side. And, for my ideal. And, I'm also streaming. Um, I used to run it at 60. She's, you know, which is fine. That keeps the house very cold, but it, is not the ideal temperature. So that helps cool off my room a little bit. But yeah, there's that. Um, in any case, today is icky and hot out, and the AC helps a lot. So you feel it though, even with the AC, it's still. I don't know. Maybe I'm just because I'm in here with the computer with the door closed and the heat coming off of that. Kind of sucks, but that's okay. Um, anyway, what was I doing? I was going to dig up Arcana. So for those of you who don't know, in DTRPG stuff, right? For those of you who don't know, what 7? Oh right, because I have all the gift subs. Oh, actually, before I do that, I have to go and tell everyone I'm streaming. I forgot to do that. Yay, fun stuff. Let me do. Um. Oh, and I have to. Um. So I used to do this every single Sunday, and I'd go on and we do. Um. Yeah. So I did every single Sunday. I used to do this for ages. And all of that is still up on, presumably up on YouTube. It might be private, and it certainly doesn't have any kind of um, labeling. So that's another thing we could do. But right now, just keep going. Chugga. Okay. Um. Yes. That. Yeah. Call of. Doing Call of. Okay. Let's. Let me go and see if I can find Arcana. For those of you who don't know, Tales of Arcana is a. Let's just. Yep. Where is it? It doesn't actually specify. Open file location. Okay, okay, it's in this. Alright. That is good to know. Now I know where that is. Noted. Let me just check something. No, not that. We want... I'm just checking something. Yeah. Okay. That's the same three. Okay. And that's those three, and... just checking. Okay. Yeah, alright. We're just gonna have to do this. Alright, so... I am... blah. Huh. Interesting. It's not in here. No, it's not in there. Because it's in here. Thank you for being patient with me. I figure out where the heck all my stuff is. Is... Okay. Stick that in there. Okay. Okay. So it should be... There we go. I'm gonna put this in... No, we're just gonna stick it there for now. Okay. Sorry for getting distracted on the stream. This is the one I was talking about. So, Tales of Arcana. We have gotten very distracted. Oh, can you see it? That is an important question. Yes, you can. Okay, good. So, welcome all of you. We're, 216. Not terrible. Especially on a day like today. So, we used to do this all the time. And I think this one might be a slightly... They might have edited it slightly, but this version versus the other version. 2021. Okay. Manitos, God of Earth and Reality, is aware he is a character in an RPG setting and is opposed to the publication of this book. Mistakes found within can be imbalanced. The rules are his doing. Based on the original role-playing game, rules designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, and inspired by the 5th edition of the game designed by Mark Merles, Jeremy Crawford, Chris Perkins, Rodney Thompson, Peter Lee, James Wyatt, Albert J. Schwab, Bruce R. Cordell, Chris Sims, and Steve Townsend. And then some playtesting and other... One of the things, legal consultation... Okay. Disclaimer, OGL... Okay, this was before that nonsense. Represents the end result of years... Yes. Okay. So, the idea is... There's this lore section, right? And I don't know how to explain it. It's very fun. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me flip this in a little bit. Is that... it's like you can't get no, that. Can we just do that? Okay, let's try this. There, perfect, you see? Okay. Now, does it look good on there? Yes, it does. Okay. Perfect, we got margins and everything. I am cool like that. This is one of those things about, blech. adjusting this. There's a way to do it. I cannot remember. Faye was the one who showed me. Someone was on the stream talking about it, but okay. And then we can scooch this a little bit, and voila. Even better. Hi, Darth! Welcome on in. You might be the only person watching right now. So welcome. This is the Tales of Arcana race guide. I'll show you the cover. It is the inside, yeah. Tales of Arcana, 5e race guide. Basically, it has, they took every single possible fantasy trope ever, like a bunch of superhero tropes, a bunch of comic book, sci-fi, basically any trope ever, squished them all together into this kind of lore, intensively ridiculous lore that just does not make sense ish. It's just like there's layers on layers of different like secret organizations, and it's just like all of those shouldn't all exist at once, but they do in this setting. And basically, from what I've there was a preface somewhere here. It said that they hadn't imagined all of lore. It was just going to be a kind of lore neutral, and then they said, no, we want some lore. And so to fit all of this in, they had to put lore together in such a way that is just ridiculous. It's a lot of fun, but it's a little ridiculous. And I have used it a few times, actually. For some fun stuff. I think I used for my short-lived campaign in the Tales of Arcana. It was the short-lived campaign in run on AOTT, all on the table. I think I have a shout out for them. Yeah. Yes, I haven't. I'm kind of loosely affiliated with them, but I did back before they were doing a kind of. We were doing a Saturday every Saturday, every third Saturday, I think they cycled between four, and I was the player in one of them and the DM in the other, and we cycled through them all, and it was a good time. We had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, so Tales of Arcana. So Tales of Arcana is 5e. Matt Kneisel, the lead developer. Trigger Consortium, which actually is a group in the thing. And it's, so you got all these guys, and they're all, if you go through, okay, here, I'll show you here. As a child, like I'm sure many of you have, I had an imaginary world and a sequential story that would continue in daydreams or when going to sleep. Arcana represents the sum total expression of this personal mythology, which I'm happy to share. I've always loved crossovers. It's amazing when seemingly disparate ideas interact, and unlikely interactions cause you to learn something new about those ideas that you'd not have thought about before. These different characters or concepts might not work together, but after reiteration, if crossovers are done well, these combinations will seem natural. So you'll have a hard time imagining those elements apart. Fantasy and science fiction have changed a lot since Lord of the Rings, Dungeons & Dragons, and Star Wars. Adventure Time documents the political struggles between Tuck and Candy. China Mayville's Perdido Street Station explores the relationship between a human man and a woman who has a beetle for a head. Guardians of the Galaxy replaces Han Solo and Chewbacca archetypes with a sentient raccoon in a tree. Fantasy can be so much more than elves, dwarves, and dragons. I wanted to share my world because I know there are unique ideas that others may like, and you don't have to like all of them. Arcana might seem like just another generic fantasy world, but it's important to me, just like your campaigns and characters are important to you. The story you and your friends share is going to be more powerful than anything a billion-dollar studio could make. All art has inherent value, it just varies from person to person. Any idea or concept you can create has the potential to become your Spider-Man or Azeroth. I hope this book becomes one of many role-playing resource books that you use when you are world-building and preparing a character to play. You are now officially an Arcanaut. Welcome to Arcana. Okay, author's notes. The notes appear throughout the book to help explain more details about the current subject. Some use real-world terms and examples to further explain a concept. Others convey additional lore facts about the world of Arcana. It might seem unlikely for a demon rogue to adventure with an Angel Paladin, but coming up with a story in which they would travel together as part of the fun of role-playing games, work with your other players to come up with a shared story. You might have an idea for your character, but you'd be willing to adapt the game to run smoothly. Okay. So this is the introduction. January of 2026, Fallout second set was funded in 2018, also through Kickstarter. A role-playing card game. RPG uses cards to randomly generate characters. RP card game uses cards to randomly generate characters. The game was designed for one-time single-session campaigns where players randomly generate their characters from cards. Its tagline was "Go outside the sandbox." For example, you might get the Dwarf Barbarian who uses a shotgun, breathes fire, and transforms into an angel, or you could get cards from Gargoyle Paladin who uses a ray gun, shoots jelly beans, and can slow time. The thesis of Tales of Arcana is twofold. First, many more people might play role-playing games if they were less rules and lore restrictive. Yes, but a lot of people like the crunch, and the lore is the interesting part. See, there's caveats to that. An interactive pathing product could lead players into more complicated games like Dungeons & Dragons Pathfinder. Secondly, an evolving player base may desire new character options for games based on modern elements, from pop culture, video games, movies, television, podcasts, YouTube videos, and so forth, in addition to classic options from folklore and mythology. Also true. Within this guide, players are meant to find bases that are expected, elves, dwarves, humans, unexpected, puppets, robots, weird, clowns, cards, original, storytellers, ingouts, manos. This book strives to continue the spirit of Tales of Arcana card game and give players more radical options, racial options than role-playing book and history. It does that. Very much so it does that. Like, a lot of our... We had, there was a fight between the card and the chess kingdoms. They actually had them go to Wonderland. And they had a fight between the cards and the chess kingdom, and they had to play, like, multiple sides, trying to figure out who had kidnapped this particular character. And it was fun. I did, like, biology of the card people in an interesting way that I think I have somewhere. But yeah, we did some fun stuff. Character creation, shape past and personality, we can disregard it as long as the story master agrees. Once you share your characters with the group, look for possible directions that link your character to other players, unforeseen story hooks that make cooperative storytelling memorable. Yes. Yeah, the other thing about this is that there are so many more. Like, the cosmology is that Genesis is one of a couple hundred planets, and almost all of them have some sort of sentient life. So, the scale of this setting and the overlapping dimensions, realms between them is just... It's just intense, that's all. But it's a lot of fun. Let's see. Eternals, I'm trying to refresh myself on the lore and also share it with you guys. We used to do one every Sunday. We'd come and we'd do one or more of these guys. And creators of the dimension of Elohim, powerful beings, almost infinite power fueled by essence, the pure magic of creation. Titans, originally created by the Eternals to keep shape and maintain Elohim. Long ago, they rebelled against the Eternals. Many Titans were imprisoned or killed. Immortal, powerful beings that preside over one or more domains. Some are the children of the Titans, while others, such as the Greater Kami or Devas, trace origins to spirit plane. Archangels, created to protect heaven. Some take on their own devices to protect the mortal plane. That's the thing, is that it's like 16 it has a lot of different cosmology. Like, because they're ripping out of so many different cosmologies, the layers of how the the divine forces are just 16 layers deep. It's interesting. Just intense. Archdemons, form angels twisted by hell. Archdemons seek to corrupt and destroy the mortal plane. Then there's the dragon Psychons, winged reptilian predators that act as conduits for magic with specific domain, making them more powerful than gods. Most gods, okay. Wild lords, shaped-shifting animal spirits born from aspects progenitors of all animal species, they have enough power to rival a god. And then the elemental primals, most powerful element of each type, presides over an approximate elemental realm as its ruler. Orishas, godlike beings, protect mortal plane from existential threats, even the gods. Loa, spirit beings of various powers, usually presiding over domains such as animals, everyday life, and death. Fairy courts, the immortal, vain, and frivolous fey nobles who claim ownership of a large number of realms. Sorry. And you got Sephiroth, cosmic enforcers that descend upon those who break the decrees of creation. They have the power to wipe whole pantheons from existence. Olden Ones, creatures of pure chaos from outside Elohim. Once defeated and trapped in the void, their presence corrupted essence and turned into blight. Voices in the void. Impossible nightmare warlords lead the spawn of the Old Ones rumored to claim the void as their kingdom. The horror terrors. What was it? What's the one? Homestuck. There you go. I forgot Homestuck. The horror terrors are kind of like that. Bairn. Powerful beasts in the void that feed on essence. They bring with them all the sins of the world. The Will. Metaphysical energy emanates from the spirit plane, connects all life in creation. Elder Navigators. Mortal, capable of traveling various realms, who gain power until they are stronger than entire pantheons. Modern navigators can no longer attain this kind of power. Because there was this huge war between the navigators and between two navigators, and I'm getting a thingy. Okay. That's not good. Alright. Sorry. Pain. I'm fine. Allfather. Some say that presiding over the pantheons and even the Eternals themselves is a single, omnipresent, but unobservable God from which all life originates. And then you got metaphysical realms. Okay, so you got this is the forces. This is the terminology. So Arcana is just a continent, supercontinent on the planet Genesis within the dimension known as Elohim. So basically Arcana is like Pangea. It's just big enough that it's everything. Dimension creation, a unique reality. There are a huge but finite number of dimensions, and each is infinite in size. There are no parallel dimensions based on branching choices. Interesting. Okay. Universe, an infinite space within a dimension. Solar system, a number of planets that orbit a star. There are millions of solar systems in a galaxy. A universe contains thousands of galaxies. Genesis is one of many planets in the solar system. A planet that interacts with the solar system with open travel to and from. So a planet and its moon closed from solar system by a barrier of hard nothingness called firmament. Genesis is a closed planet. Someone put a barrier to keep people from going on and off planet. It didn't stop everyone. There are people who come on and off all the time, but it's difficult and it creates problems for any like Genesis space programs, for example. Realm or shard, a pocket world that exists within a dimension. Realms typically have a metaphysical connection to their dimension. Some realms are celestial or infernal in nature, but there are many realms that are separate mortal existences. Realms are usually tethered to a region of the mortal plane. In this case, the planet Genesis. So dimension, unique reality. A realm is like a cordoned off chunk within a dimension. Yeah. Within a dimension. The infinite space within a dimension. The infinite space within a dimension. Okay, universe is just all of the things in any given dimension. Okay. And then the planets and stars. Theosphere, unique metaphysical nature of a planet, including its afterlives, gods, and realms. Level sphere ring, a subsection of a realm that may be separated from the rest of the realm by physical or metaphysical barriers. Plane, a parallel existence that is out of sync with other planes but shares the same physical space. So the parallel existence is probably like a separate dimension, maybe? Haven, an untethered roaming realm that is inherently unstable, can be as small as a house or as large as the entire forest or kingdom. So there's realms that get kind of cordoned off, and then there's ones that just kind of untethered, inherently unstable. A rift is an unstable portal from one realm to another that exists for a short period of time, these usually naturally occurring. A permanent portal from one realm to another, a gate or maw, sometimes one way. Gates are constructed while maws are naturally occurring. Wearing is a metaphysical soft spot between realms where they may affect each other. Unable to be perceived, obscurities, unable to be perceived due to magic used by the Fae and mages to protect endangered species in important locations. Obscured locations are spatially folded away so that unaware traveler moves directly from one end of an obscured location to another instead of traveling through it. Imprint or an echo, relics are locations that have become physically charged by monumental events and reflect the nature of their associated incident. Actually, Warehouse 13 was an interesting example of that. The plan is the blueprints of creation set by the Eternals, creators of Elohim, and Elohim is a dimension. Alright. Everything follows these rules and must act within the confines of what has been dictated. Even magic adheres to the plan. Decree, a divine command that establishes new rules for creation and changes the plan. Faction guild organization, a group of one or more races that are held together by shared beliefs or ideals, can be centralized in an area or spread out. So you got the factions. Okay. There we go. If I sit like this, it's better. Nation and kingdom. Let me just make sure. Snag it, bag it, tag it. Yes! You watch Warehouse 13. I used to love that show. It was one of the few actual shows I watched. So then your region is typically defined, an area typically defined by a characteristic, which is geographic culture, the national kingdom, territorial by government. Alliance, a group of nations and or kingdoms that have sworn to work together for mutual goals, typically run by a council of representatives, but could be ruled by a single figurehead. Pantheon. A pantheon is a group of beings worshipped as gods. This include other celestial godlike beings, including their adversaries. Domain is a metaphysical sphere of power, such as for lightning, dream, death. Gods and other powerful beings are empowered by their domain and protect them if threatened. Real world, or real life, is the world of the reader. Modern human Earth. And then you got all these guys. Then you have, you have the metaphysical realms. So, realm, realm, the metaphysical ones. These aren't actual. Elohim is a complex cosmology beginning with the essence core of Genesis that radiates outward through the metaphysical realms before reaching the mortal plane. While these realms can affect other planets in the solar system, the realms below are tethered to Genesis. One can travel to these places, although such an adventure would be a once-in-a-lifetime event and incredibly dangerous task. The Arcanoscape is the source of arcane magic on Genesis, chaotic realm of shifting, floating islands, and powerful storms of pure magical energy. The astral planes exist side by side with the mortal plane. Though they parallel the mortal plane, natural landmarks might differ. Above the seemingly endless skies hangs a sky of shifting colors and foreign moons. Many who find themselves in this plane consider it an alien planet. Being of the mortal plane can travel here via astral projection. Cyberspace. As technology advanced across Genesis, the realm of cyberspace grew and developed. Its properties and life forms are directly impacted by the use of technology on the mortal plane. Dreamlands are a realm reached only through dreams. The Dreamlands were home to ancient Olden One civilizations such as Kadath and have since fallen. Despite their name, the Dreamlands are not part of the knowing. The elemental realms are the source of elemental magic on Genesis, regulating these primal forces. There's the Earthscape, Firescape, Waterscape, and Windscape. The gem realm of the Earthscape filters and stores essence before it enters Elohim. Engines of reality. Cosmic tend to the massive machines that regulate and control all of natural processes. Equinox is the realm of seasons, and habits celebrate various holidays, ensuring that they occur and the calendar advances as normal. There are many realms that the Fae claim, but the realm of Fairy is their capital, which they brought with them when the Fae migrated to Genesis. Now Fairy help maintain nature and the elements, though this is largely unknown. Fiction. The realm of books where the worlds of the written word play out in their plots over and over. Fiction is a part of the Renaissance realms of the knowing. Gaia is the realm of nature, home to the eternal of the same name and the aspects, progenitors of all animal species. Gaia maintains the natural order. It is connected to Genesis by the green path, a force that connects all plant life. Godlands. These realms are home to many god pantheons. While many of these have mortal populations, these are seats of power where the gods reside. Olympus, Asgard, and Heliopolis are some of the many godlands. Some are tethered via world trees. And then Heaven, the celestial realm of light and order, home to the angels and the final destination for those who live good and virtuous lives. Heaven is guarded by massive pearly gates that open only to those who are worthy of residing within, one of the many light realms. And you have Hell exists in a state of unimaginable torment. It is the furthest from the essence core, making existing in its many levels painful on its own. The most well-known sphere is Inferno, the Hell of Fire, though Hell is also home to the elemental-infused realms such as Umbra and Abyss. Pandemonium is its capital city. Heck, and neither are other notable Hell realms. The Knowing, sometimes called Story, is the realm created by the Essence Core and is home to the Dream and Nightmare realms. It is also home to the Renaissance realms, each representing a different art form. It fuels the Arcanoscape, ascending its path is desired by God and mortal alike. Mechanosphere, a realm of endless clockwork machinery created by the Titans. Abandoned after their defeat, it has continued adapting and evolving for eons. Monstrum is the afterlife realm for monstrous beings. Living monsters can travel there, though the monsters that have died are unable to leave. Nanoverse, a realm accessible only through shrinking to microscopic size. It can be found no matter where the traveler shrinks. Purgatory, the afterlife for those who are neither truly good nor bad. Purple World, a broken, chaotic realm. Those who dream, die, or astral project can find themselves trapped in this desolate wasteland with its oppressive purple sky. Its denizens are immortal, homicidal, and insane. Qantas, the celestial realm of science. Academics and researchers revere Qantas as if it were a god. The Quickeness, a lesser realm created by the Romulan god Mercury to allow others to travel large distance in seconds. In the time since its creation, it has gained sentience. The Death realm for plants. It is connected to Genesis by the Grey Path, a force that connects fungus and all that decays. The Shadow realms, afterlife realms usually claimed by various pantheons. Tartarus, the other side, Duat, Mictlan are some of the many underworlds that make up the Shadow realms. The Hell realms were Shadow realms, but they were corrupted by blight. Interesting. So that the interesting question is afterlife. Well, there's heaven and hell, but there's also like a shadow realm. So where you go and die comes this whole thing, and that's if you don't turn to a ghost. Sleight is the shadowy realm of lost objects. Those who use shadows to move about Genesis do so by temporarily glancing off this realm. Spirit plane. Spirit plane forms formed from the mixture of blight and essence. The most extreme manifestations of blight and essence, yin and yang, are confined here. Godlike beings known as devas and greater kami manifest here, as do other spirit beings. Nirvana is the highest point of this plane, where beings who break out of the reincarnation cycle can retire. The spirit plane also has elemental realms of earth, fire, metal, water, and wood. So the spirit plane, that's the thing, is that because you have so many different overlapping cosmologies, having them exist side by side, it's just like doesn't quite like make sense, if that, I don't know. It's interesting. Tantrum, nightmare realm of whimsy and magic of imagination, completely isolated from Elohim. Viscera, realm of afterlife for vicious carnivorous animals when they die, connected to Genesis by the blood path, which connects all animals. Void, chaos realm where the olden ones are imprisoned. The void has no essence, magic, and is considered worse than the hell realms. There are other metaphysical realms such as Negaverse, Subspace, Underwear, Ikaroth, Flipside, Witch Space, and Great Beyond, but realms listed above are the most likely to affect the mortal plane when unbalanced. I feel like half of those is too many, but okay. And at least they have a handy-dandy map. So you got Shadow Realms, you got Godlands, Heaven, Astral Planes, this is the mortal realm. Qantas, Cyberspace, Smell Force. Like that's even like this other Arcanoscape, the Gem Realm, the Earth, and then got the Mortal Realm. And then linked it to Gaia, the Realm of Nature, and then the Mortal Realm here. Spirit Plane and Astral Plane kind of overlap in the Mortal Realm, so they're kind of, if that, I guess, makes sense. It's just, ugh. It's just a lot. So, Void is over here, which I guess kind of shoots off of Hell, which sort of makes sense. Heaven and Godlands, okay. And then Sebastian Koziner. I like that every specific one has, hang on though, because Godlands, okay, so Godlands are down here, but they definitely missed, Heaven is Nightmare, fiction, dream, and the knowing, which is the essence core. Dreamlands are separate off here. Engines of reality. Mechanosphere. Okay. And then they had so there's so the history. Eternals, powerful beings made of essence, pure magic creation, create Elohim. That's the. This is the. Essentially, Elohim is the universe. Right. Okay. Each infinite in size, no parallel dimensions based on ranging choices. So Elohim is the one Elohim. So you got planet. Many planets, and so Elohim is the created. Titans, they created the Titans. Titans created the Colossals. So Metris lead the Titans. Okay, then the Olden Ones, being of chaos and discretion, swarmed Elohim. Eternals and their Titans defeat the Olden Ones and contain them in the Void, a negative realm within Elohim. Though trapped, the Olden Ones' presence corrupts essence, which is blight. Okay, so the Eternals create the servants to protect creation. Angels, cosmic and evolutionaries. Some Eternals leave Genesis to explore Elohim. So they basically, Genesis is like the bestest special planet that was created by the to house the essence core and everything, and then the universe kind of spiraled out from there. Develop other planets, hunt down any remaining old ones. Surviving Titans, who lost many of their number to the old ones, begin to resent the Eternals. Right? Essence caused life. So essence causes the life rapidly evolve across the planets. Genesis, it is the primordial time of the dinosaurs. While southern races thrive, blight also causes dark and twisted life forms to evolve, like the Bairn. So Bairn. We'll pick this up. See, this is where we're getting. So Bairn are powerful beasts in the void. Feed all essence. Okay. They developed during the dinosaur age. And then. Yes. Primeval time of the dinosaurs, where saurian races thrive. Okay, so constant struggle for control. Strange visitors from beyond the stars, known only as the Chosen, arrive on Genesis and begin to colonize parts of the planet. Using their advanced technologies, they establish a waygate that allows them to travel across Genesis into other realms, various planets across the solar system. As quickly as they arrive, the Chosen need to vanish, leaving their technological wonders behind. So, random aliens from beyond the stars. So, somewhere, potentially somewhere out in Elohim, where other life is developing. Titan War. At the end of the dinosaur age, Titan. So the Chosen are. Okay. Chosen are just from somewhere. That's. No one figures out where the. Because of course they're not, but. Alright. Titans. So dinosaurs happen. Titans want to release the olden ones, conquer Genesis. Destroy those who serve the Eternals. So Eternals built everything. Titans rebelled. Metris. Oh, some of the Eternals, the Elemental Primals. So the Elementals were already there. Okay. Sided with Metris. Eternals return and elevate beasts into behemoths, dinosaurs into dragons, and whales into leviathans. So the Titans come back and start pulling up monsters. Betrayed by their own children. And the gods. Okay, so the Titan had the gods, and then the Titans tried to rebel against the. So, okay, well, that's a whole other, like, secondary. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Titans were off having gods. Also create a bunch of gods. But that doesn't explain whether they made the gods during or after their fight with the olden ones. Because I feel like that's an important distinction. insectoid Kefri. So during the dinosaur, the olden ones are also throwing out constant struggle for control for dinosaurs, and okay. Then they were the chosen. But then the Titans were having had the gods created between. Okay. Colossus and Serpent Titans are banished to the Cloud Realms. The gods. So the Colossals that serve the Titans. With the Colossals were the Titans. Oh, wait, now I'm getting there. Colossals. So if the Colossals were the children of the Titans, are they also gods? Doesn't specify the cosmic forces. So the Colossals were the children of the Titans, but so were the gods. That doesn't explain if they're the same thing or not. See, this is where it gets interesting. Okay. So, are banished to the Colossals, get banished to the Cloud Realms of the Windscape, and their Titan machines, including the continent-destroying Titan bombs, are buried deep within the Earth. The elemental primals that serve Metris are confined to the elemental realms. Dragons are made Psychons, beings with domain over various magical domains. The gods leave for higher realms. So the gods, who were the children of the Titans, get... This is where the god realms happen. Hi! Yes, hello. So... Oh, yay, you have a watch streak. Oh, so you have, bits. You probably have a gajillion vibe points. If you get enough vibe points, you can make me do a stream on the subject of your choice. Which is essentially to keep them there. But yes, hypothetically, Cthulhu was one of the olden ones, and he fought, let's see. The olden ones came to Elohim after the Titans. Okay, Titans created colossal mountain-sized beings to help them in their task. So the Colossals created the Titans created the Colossals. But Metris with the head Titan and mechanical stuff. Okay, they created the Colossals, and then they also had the gods at some point between then and but the olden ones. All right. Yes. Yes. So yeah, they did punch Cthulhu in the face because they're trapped in the void, which means yes, Cthulhu could come out of the void and you'd have to punch him in the face. That could be a whole thing. There's a lot going on in this setting, and I'm trying to parse together all of the cosmology, and it's just, ugh, so much cosmology, and it is incredibly frustrating. Alright, let's see. So, Chosen, which are just strange visitors from beyond the stars, which I get. They already established that Elohim Genesis is just the planet where all of the stuff happens, the bestest special planet that the creators made. But like they invented this entire Elohim, and there's plenty of life from other planets. So the Chosen, I guess, are just one of them. And then they just show up randomly and do things. Ice Age is after the war. After the gods, who presumably were created by the Titans at some point, and or the Colossi. Colossuses. Um, Apparently they just leave after the Titan War. But I guess it makes sense. If the Titans and the Eternals are going to war, they want nothing to do with that, and then just create all the God realms. Which, if we look at our over here, Godlands, just heaven is presumably where the Eternals are. Well, that's the thing, is that the Eternals would be up by the Essence Core. That was their thing. Okay. Yes. So, Essence caused life directly develop across the planets of Elohim. So, presumably that's where the Chosen came from, some planets on Elohim. On Genesis, the primal time of the dinosaurs. And then, of course, but they caused the blight because the Great Old Ones are also causing problems. Build the mortal plane. Yes, so essence emanates to all of... Okay. the superplanet Genesis. They create the sun and the planets, the superplanet Genesis. So they built the sun and the planets, and most importantly, superplanet Genesis, whose theosphere houses a core of pure essence, emanates through all Elohim via the Leyweb. Alright. Eternals create Titans to build the mortal plane, create Colossus. Elden Ones, yes, swarm in from somewhere outside of the dimension. Eternals and Titans defeat the Elden Ones, contain them in the void. Servants protect creation, such as angels, cosmic, and evolutionaries, probably stuck them in heaven. Some Eternals leave Genesis to explore Elohim. So yeah, so the rest of the place, there were develop other planets and hunt down any remaining Elden Ones. Corruption, the surviving Titans, many of whom number the Elden Ones, begin to resent the Eternals. Okay, so they built Genesis, but there's other planets, and Chosen are from beyond the stars, which is... Anyway. So rapidly evolve planets across all of Elohim, and dinosaurs evolve on Genesis, but then of course there's the struggle with the Incentoid. Khepri? Flourish. Okay, so then the Chosen Titan War. Because Metris is like, F it, we're gonna change sides, conquer Genesis, which is the main planet. Elemental Primals side with him. The Eternals return and do all this stuff. So if heaven is... Okay, hang on. Heaven is Dreamlands. Heaven... home to the angels and the final destination for those with good natural lives. So... Yeah, that one's probably created. The Celestials, that's probably created by the Eternals, along with the Engines of Reality, which is where the Titans were of. So probably created heaven during the war, probably. Dreamlands just kind of started existing. There's a lot of stuff going on in this, and trying to figure it all out. Okay. Ice Age, that's not even Ice Age. Okay, so yeah, the Chosen, to tell you more, the Ice Age is, the gods all leave. Ice Age, summons an asteroid to collide with Genesis. The behemoths, using the hammer Realmbreaker, create the astral plane and lead to Exodus to this new world. The meteor's impact causes an Ice Age. So, Metris is just like, meteor swarm, destroy the planet. Behemoths, who were elevated by the elementals during that war with the Titans. Beasts and the behemoths, yeah, they were creatures created by the Eternals by elevating beasts that already lived there. Dragged everyone off to the astral plane to escape the destruction. Hundreds of thousands of years of Ice Age. Many gods are absent during this time. Their movements and action unknown to history. Because they just left, because they betrayed the Titans to the Eternals, and then probably just skedaddled off to their own god realms that they created, presumably. Odin, Satan, and Maximum Overdrive battle Metris during the Titan War. That is... Okay. Satan and her armies are cast out of heaven. Okay, so aquatic ecosystem squid. Squid spirals down a mysterious world for thousands of years until the thawing ice ushered in the end of the age. Okay. Neanderthals evolve naturally. The gods take notice of these new tribes and eventually elevate Neanderthals to become dwarves and elves. So, Garden of Eden. This is after... Okay. So they're dwarves and elves come from Neanderthals? Sure. Council of Archangels, which was created by the Eternals at some point during the Titan War, presumably, to create... That they're from heaven. Okay. Create humans from Neanderthals and seek to raise them in isolation to protect them from the evils of the world. They create Adam, the first man, and Lilith to be his wife. Lilith, and then so she gets banished. But yeah, Adam and Lilith gets banished, and Archangel Satan attempts to take control of the garden. So Satan Lucifer's rebellion, or Satan, go to war with the other archangels, but they fail and are cast from heaven, losing their wings in the process. Fallen angels turn on Stan, imprisoning her in hell. Oh, so she gets imprisoned by the fallen angels, not by the archangels, but by the fallen angels. Cast out of heaven. Consume pools of light to regain their power, causing their rings to regrow, and they're transformed into demons. So fallen angels, who imprison Satan, then try to become something, and then transform into demons. Many of them sire children with Lilith, creating various demonic races. That kind of tracks with the demon Lilith and her mythology and various demons flourish. Although her being Adam's first wife is actually kind of a secondary thing. It used to be before the. That's a newer interpretation of mythology, apparently, from what I've been learning. Eden remains secluded. So, the archangels, they kick Lilith out. Then she gets to waste, so just somewhere out on the Genesis, presumably it's recovering from the Ice Age, presumably among the dwarves and elves, right? Because they're kicking around out there during that time too. She sent her off somewhere, and then that's an interesting question. There are more questions than answers in this. Okay, so the fallen angels become demons and end up with Lilith and okay, so the archangels issue a decree to banish the demons from the mortal realm into hell. Though trapped in hell, Sin influences the first humans to break the garden's rules, causing them to exile in the harsh, barren world. Titan Promethea, who had fought against Metris, takes pity on the humans. She travels to the Essence Core to steal it, giving magic to the humans. It's punished, but humanity flourishes across Genesis. The ancient societies are magically advanced. Gods return to the world, guiding some human followers. So then, the archangels are trying to do this thing with humans. It falls apart because Lilith gets kicked out. Then Satan leads the rebellion based on Lilith's exile. Then she gets trapped in hell by her own people. They become demons, and then they get banished to hell, which they created to trap Satan, after by the angels and the gods, who are kind of chilling off in the corner, just like, we're not doing anything. They notice the humans. Promethea helps the humans out. The gods notice and start coming back to protect bits of humans. As far as this is, okay, so the life developed in Genesis, so had arisen on other worlds. Yeah, the Chosen, they were that too. The invaders, highly advanced aliens, attempt to take Genesis for their own. Okay, so they're defeated by a collision of celestial, infernal, and mortal races. See, the thing is, Genesis is just the bestest special planet, but all the other planets also have sentient life, including invaders, apparently. Decree seals Genesis and its moon away from the rest of Elohim behind a barrier of solid nothingness known as the firmament. So you can't do Asteroid because apparently this is the best special planet, and they can't have aliens from other planets who just happen to be, evolved. They can't do that. So, the whole Genesis is the best special planet thing bugs me a little bit, but invaders brought their own pantheons to Genesis. So, okay, they also had divine realms, probably from Titans that went off to explore or whatever, spawned other pantheons, which I guess is a thing. And that's the question though, is because Genesis is the specialist one, then how are they getting pantheons if not from the Eternal? That's the question of that. But alright. Create their own mortal races, but because the Fae and the Gob are brought in during Skywar and now they're all stuck, they create their own mortal races on Genesis, because apparently now. Descendants of the Gob, trolls, and ogres spread their kingdom across Genesis, as do the fairy courts. All of these civilizations subjugate the dwarves, elves, and humans who live in the regions. War through conquerors attempt to hide from prosecution. Yeah, the same way everyone was fighting the invaders, they came with the invaders, and then interesting. Okay, Fae and the Gobs. They brought the Fae and the Gob with them. who started building mortal races on the planet. Question is, why did they not go after the Fae and the Gob? Like, so the aliens, the invaders, right, came to Genesis. Their pantheons came with them. So the Fae and the Gob are divine, more than mortal races, presumably created by the Titans. Some point, probably created by Titans who ran off exploring Elohim. Like, okay, well, hang on. When was this? We're getting this. Some of the Eternals leave Genesis. Okay, so some of the Eternals leave Genesis. So develop other planets, hunt down any remaining Olden ones. So the main... Okay, so certain Eternals... So God were created by Titans, Eternals, someone. So if... So Skywar then suggests that... So the Eternals created Heaven to deal with the planet of Genesis, the super special Bessus planet. But other... and then the Titans had their gods who they'd created, and then who had just bamfed, but had, stayed in realms adjacent to Genesis, because that's where they started. The other Eternals run off exploring Elohim after the creation of the Titans. After the Olden ones were sealed away. So yeah, well after the creation of the Titans. So, which means that Elohim was... Genesis was specifically next to the Void, but if it's metaphysical, then... See, this is... okay, so then the Fae and the Gob show up. So that means that whoever these invaders were, they must have had, if not been created by another Eternal, then have another Eternal at their back, because the other Eternal would have been how they created the Gob and the Fae, who were from an Eternal, created by an Eternal at some point, most likely, or created by a Titan that created by an Eternal. And that's what I'm curious about. And the Chosen don't have any kind of gods or anything, they just came with the tech. So clearly they developed outside of any Eternal influence, just somewhere out in Elohim. That might have actually probably helped their tech development, honestly. So Fae and Gob. And then they created kingdoms on Genesis, who were powerful enough to cause problems. So Cassiel is the Archangel. Because the... Okay, so the... Hang on. Okay, that's the Flood. Alright, so the Demon Age, Satan's... Okay, Garden of Eden, Neanderthals. So, the gods created the elves and the dwarves. Hang on, the gods take... Okay, so the gods who were kicking off in the god realm, not the Eternals, but the gods. Okay, Council of Archangels, who were special chosen by the Eternals, were the Archangels. They have decree power, they're special chosen. The gods are just kind of like the children/grandchildren of the Eternals after they created of the Titans. So the Eternals create the Titans and the Archangels, and the Titans betray them. Gods are just their kids. They sided with the Eternals, they sided with their grandparents, but... Like, I'm trying to spin this out into logic here, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's just... So they created that, so they created the elves and dwarfs and the Neanderthals, and then the Archangels were like, hey, we're going to do our own thing with this. Let's, instead of just kind of pulling up Neanderthals into elves and dwarfs, let's do, like, a proper experiment. So they created the Garden of Eden, and then Adam, and then Lilith, but Lilith wasn't having it. She got kicked out, and then into the Desolate Waste, which presumably was somewhere other than where the elves and the dwarves were living. Probably someplace on Genesis that was poor, not really fit for human habitation. So she got sent out there. The Satan got pissed about that and rebelled as an archangel. Anyone who worked, a bunch of the archangels rebel, get kicked out to the same place Lilith got kicked to, and they turn on their leader, create a torment realm just for her. Then they try to get this blight to try and gain back their powers as archangels, but that turns them into demons instead, and then they meet up with Lilith. and try because that they're all banished to the same spot. Um, yeah, so they get cast down. They end up right around where Lilith is. Um, make the Hell Realm for Satan, and then they try to get back together. But she was actually that's probably why it was waste. Is because there was a high rot concentration or blight concentration, which is the anti essence. There's probably a high concentration of that, which probably made it poorly inhabitable, which is why they sent Lilith there. But it's also why they ended up so blighted when they ended up there when they got kicked out of heaven. Okay, I'm think I got the hang of this. I'm. Oh wow! All right, let me. 30 seconds. Blah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm back. Friend, hello. Unbiblical payday. Umbilical payday. Okay. I'm not. Um. Um. So I got distracted enough that I didn't even notice there was an ad break, but I did some stretching. You should also do some stretching. Get some liquid. Um. Yeah. We have trying to sell me viewers. That happened then. Okay, so then early humans. So then Satan was like kind of just out of spite, presumably, convinces the other humans to follow Lilith's example, and then they get chucked out too. But the Titan Promethea takes pity on the humans, travels the Essence Core to steal from it, so she brings them magic because she feels bad that they're just getting kicked out into nothing. Um, and some of the gods who hadn't been bringing up the elves and dwarves were like, hey, free range humans are just out in the world to do whatever. They kind of lash onto certain human cultures. Um, elves and dwarves. So the rest of the gods start trickling back as well. Skywar is when the so all the other Eternals had been off on certain Eternals had been off on other planets, and one of them probably found whoever developed on whoever the invaders were, because they had the Fae got their own pantheon that was created by whatever Eternal was kind of guiding them along, who then came with the invaders, and that led them to be able to come by. Uh, that led. That's probably they probably allowed an anchor point between the Fae and the Gob. Interesting. That would suggest that the Fae and the Gob have points to connections to both points. Um, so then they created a bunch of races that mortal races to put on Genesis because they're like, well, we're here anyway. Maybe as part of the connection to the invaders, maybe. Yeah, it's probably as an advanced thing. Well, but then once the invaders are defeated, and they set up the firmament, are they? They're probably stuck behind the firmament too, um, or maybe they're the only ones who can get around. I don't know, but their descendants are fighting with the dwarves, elves, and humans, and causing all sorts of problems. And then Archangel Cassiel is kind of pissed because they built the humans to be special. The humans had ruined it and started going out, but Cassiel was annoyed that um, uh, so Cassiel just floods the entire planet, perverting a decree. Um, just because he's just like, no, we screwed up. We didn't do the human thing. He's just pissed about the humans not doing humans. And so he just floods the entire thing. The Fae leaves the planet. The Fae leave. The Gobs stay, apparently. So, um, but the elves manage to recover. Displacement causes them to discover naturally occurring sources of essence. So they start building cities. The elves manage to recover from the flood the fastest. And their goddess Freya, she was one of the ones who built, had pulled them up, you know. But back when the Neanderthals, before they even started the human experiment, Freya had probably done this. Um, and they, tap into um, the goddess Freya. Whether or not she was an elven goddess, she manages to teach some of them to tap into that, and they help restore the forests. They study magic, and they fight with the remnants of the Troll and Ogre empires that are still kicking around too. They also recover and start fighting with the elves. So Cassiel was flooded, and apparently some of the elves brought Cassiel back, which that's an interesting one because you'd think the elves would dislike Cassiel because Cassiel was a human supremacist, but okay, so Cassiel conquered a bunch of planets because he was kicked off Genesis and he just went off into outer space especially because they built the firmaments, so they could kick him out. And he manages to come through the firmament because of the Elven followers, presumably. Um, he aims to capture the heart and the essence. Yeah, because Genesis is the super special bestest planet, that's where you can get at the essence. So he is trying to figure out that. So then he gets defeated, though. So that's cool. Um, Dwarves, who have been kicking around the whole time, uh, carving out the mountains, they've been conquering the dark below. Age when their empire, and then their empire fall. So the dwarves do pretty well for themselves after the Essence War, but then eventually their kingdom falls apart. And then new human developed. The last of the humans kind of come back. Um, yeah. So as soon as the Dwarven empires fall, the human empires that had been, the humans that had been kind of recovering from the flood, after the elves kind of fell apart with their schism over Cassiel, and then the dwarves fell apart because of their issues with their own empirical decline. The humans start trying to come together. Humans learn to harvest they're learning to harness magic. Then they have a magical renaissance, develop enough power to rival the gods. For various reasons, many animal species also become elevated to sentient beings, as well as the humans developing magic. The gods become jealous of mortals because they were supposed to be the powerful ones, and now humans are discovering magic. And um, terrible monsters to co-mortal beings. The pantheons direct conflict with each other because the pantheons are coming into conflict. Archangels join the fight to protect Genesis from the gods and their monster armies. So the gods are having their spat. They're bringing down humans. They're getting into conflict with each other. They have monsters that are hulling people they don't like. And then they're fighting. The archangels join the fight. So the archangels fight against the god. Let's see. The archangels join the fight against the god. The behemoth. A behemoth uses the hammer Realmbreaker to shatter the mortal plane, creating hundreds of new realms. So then, just hundreds of new realms are created as the mortal plane gets smashed. The mortal plane on Genesis specifically, because I feel like, they shatter the entire mortal plane, which doesn't destroy Genesis apparently, but it does destroy civilizations, reshape the surface of Genesis, and then the Pantheons and the Archangels are just like, no, we're trucing. They agree to retreat to their realms and establish protocol contracting with the mortal world in the future. After that, the gods and archangels just leave. The mortals are left with broken up Genesis. So the humans are the ones who pull forward after that because they still have. Um, um, so freed from the oppressive pantheons, but they still retain their religions. So the gods are no longer trying to, subjugate them, but they're, yes. Uh, Huh. So, after the Cataclysm and the realm shattering and the humans coming up, the Empire gets built. Vilgnar. So, the Empire gets founded after Vilgnar. Um, Presumably tries to do something bad. They are like, we're just gonna build this big empire, spread hundreds of races and smaller nations into the fold. This big empire spreads. Blood War. Um, Non-magic human Tython Magath, known to history as Blood King, becomes jealous of his accomplished sorcerer mage brother Argus. Corrupts the Empire with a message of intolerance toward non-humans and magic users. He leads the Blood Reich and Infernal Machines across Arcana. So, civil war against magic users. Um, so, Argus, as his brother is becoming fascist and trying to lead the humans in the Empire into a creation, which doesn't. Yeah, okay, so the humans founded the Empire, which it doesn't specify that the humans founded the Empire. Yes, the humans, were powerful and becoming that, but it doesn't really specify that they. Well, anyway, they were still the predominant group, and yes, Bloodreich. Argus, who was magic, was like, no, we're not doing this, and triggers a generation-long winter to stop Tython's forces, which is one way to do it. So the gods and the archangels come together to keep humans from getting that powerful ever again. Because he was this ultimately like, nope, we're not letting humans have that much power because they're just gonna fight with it. Although, I think that's kind of cruel because honestly, well, like you could argue that Tython McGuff was as responsible of Argus, if not more. It's just he didn't have the power. He used his own lack of power for evil. So the not having that much power is frankly like it doesn't do any good. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's dumb. Anyway, so Empire Civil War. So after the Winter Age, so the Empire, um, so 200. Okay, so 200 years ago. So 1,900 years ago. So that's generation long Winter Age. So that's about 100 years ago. Is the Winter. So the Empire survives that after that, and then hits a civil war. 200 years. Okay, so and then abolished the Empire's acceptance of non-humans. So that's Bloodreich coming back resurgence. Outer provinces developed. The Empire subdues them after a decade of bloodshed. To prevent further rebellions, destroys many settlements and regions and established several capitals to various provinces to keep the influence on Arcana. So, however, during the construction of the capitals, the Empire is forced to partner with various corporations. The cities agreeing out of necessity, the corporations could rule the capitals and set their own laws within them. Yes. So, powerful, um, powerful economic forces, as the empire was falling apart, they counted on a lot of powerful economic groups, corporations, that. See, why did they even have. So I think this is specifically because that is what they wanted to be Mike Knisel wanted to be the bad guy, so it's the corporation, so then how did all of these crazy gods have, and the corporation still got, and then this is because of this, the empire. Let's see, so they did that. Right, so, okay, so on the other side of Arcana, which is a continent, so like Pangea, Arcana is kind of like Pangea, there are other places on Genesis, presumably, but Arcana the Empire is really powerful and is the focus of the thing, so that's where they come from, but the Arcana, so constructions happen, so rise and back, so chunks of, the Empire has their civil war, but they still lose a lot of territory, decades of bloodshed, 10 years of stupid, and then outside the Empire, the Dominion is arising, taken over by Sul Dricus, who names himself Senator Prime and rules as dictator. So, expands violently using technologically advanced armor. The tension exists to this present day. Okay, but the Empire was violent, not above violently putting down rebellions. So the Empire isn't. They're like two sides of the same coin, basically. Empire is more of the Genghis Khan approach, where he let people keep as long as they pay tribute. If they don't pay tribute, smash them to smithereens. Dominion just skip to the smashing to smithereens and don't try to do peaceful solution first. But it's one half dozen the other. If you don't comply, you will get smashed either way. So, yeah. Um, and so then the Dominion's off expanding on the other side of the continent. The Empire's, but because the Empire is a lot of disparate cultures that are kind of tribute to a central hub, it's I don't know how that puts it with the Dominion, whether that makes it stronger or weaker politically. So the vampire like Dracula attempts to conquer Arcana by using cloning technology originally used by the Bloodreich to create artificial food source and turn clones into vampire soldiers. So defeat the undead threat. So 30 years ago, Dracula got powerful and decided to try some, bring back some Bloodreich tech, and do nonsense. And they team up to defeat this undead threat. So yeah, you had to have people from the Dominion and the Empire working together. But today, adventurers from all over Genesis travel to Arcana to explore its ruins, search for relics, fight terrifying and weird enemies. Yet some question the wisdom of venturing at all, and non-human resentment is returning. Due to political pressure, the Empire requires adventurers to be licensed. The business lords and their corporations oppress commoners, and ancient evil awakens. Arcana needs now our heroes. Okay, so alright, that makes sense. All over Genesis, which probably means all over the realms as well as Arcana. So that's the question, is are the realms separate from Arcana? Is just the continent and Genesis... Do the people of realms count as people of Genesis, or are they from... There's 100 questions I don't know the answer to. Because the realms are tied to Genesis, right? Hang on. Alright, so now we've gotten the crash course mythology and my own attempts to make it make more sense. Realms, metaphysical connection to their dimension. Some realms are celestial inferno, but many realms are separate. Tethered to a region on the mortal plane, in this case the planet Genesis. So they are tethered to Genesis, presumably. Although, the realms... Well, Fae and Gob, they were tethered to another planet. They, size. Yeah. The Adventuring Guild, the Empire's legal adventuring bureau, requires all adventurers to complete cultural training as part of receiving a license. Adventurers are meant to be respectful of their races and cultures. This outlook is similar to the philosophies of the Federation from the earlier incarnations of Star Trek television series, or the Orville's Planetary Union. That doesn't mean the racial tensions don't exist, just the Empire strives to overcome them, allegedly. In early editions, alignment had important mechanical implications for character gameplay. This is no longer the case. Characters are complex, can't be judged solely by good, lawful, evil, and chaotic. An angel, lawful good, executes non-believers, and action they feel is just and dictated by religious protocol. If the character's morality is subjective to their experience, and they follow laws that may be unjust, the lawful good character can be more malicious than a chaotic evil one. Alignment appears in this book to allow readers to get a better sense about the general attitude of race toward the world. This can be beneficial for NPCs. Players can deviate from these alignments if it makes sense for their character's story. An angel can be played by a chaotic evil, or a devil lawful good. Beings with inherent natures, such as celestials and infernals, can also be changed. These alignments should not be restricted player options. Okay. Races and alignment, technology. Okay, so magic, technology, moons, the Empire. Okay, so that's the history of how it got there. And then, so you got Genesis. So Dark Below is the subterranean sprawl beneath Genesis. Hollow Genesis. Oh, okay, so there's that too. Savage Wilds. Much of the world is covered by dangerous terrain and unexplored regions that few return from. Due to the use of skyships and chosen waygates, many are able to travel from one area of civilization to the other without ever stepping foot in these dangerous and mysterious regions. Interesting. So that's kind of... the Empire kind of ties together a lot of disparate regions that don't necessarily border each other because they've been able to move around each other, and then the Empire takes them. The Dominion presumably would have to take chunks of the wild, because if they're running their empire, whatever they've got going on, they would have to take... and the Empire is using existing infrastructure in its conquering of various places, then technically they could just get around that. But the dominions, especially the capitals, because they're exerting control. Oh, so the Empire still tries to cling to these old ideals of things, but they are perfectly willing to crush the boot down and put capitals, into control. So, anyway, I think that is probably on purpose that the Empire is not actually pretends to be way more culturally chill than it is. Okay, the geography of Genesis and Arcana is potentially vague and ill-defined. While maps can be a useful tool for some, establishing geography can limit the narrative and lore potential for future creative endeavors. Some expressions of fantasy and science fiction, like video games, require defined locations for player to engage with the world. There will be vague descriptions of locations throughout this book, but you should feel free to customize Arcana to meet the design your campaign. I hate that. If you're gonna build a whole political system with wars and stuff, you need a map. Like, you can't have it. Like you're putting politics, and this group is the different groups in the politics. And who controls territory. If you're putting they control territory, you have to put on a map. Like, just it's frustrating, I think, to not have a map if you're going to say that this is a political, like, it's frustrating. Anyway, now I remember why I got so frustrated with Arcana. Among all the other stuff is that it's just, so I had some fun with that. I think I put Broncolonia into Arcana. I was like, okay, so this is how the Bounty Kingdom got, this area, and I put Broncolonia and Arcana together. I made it work. Broncolonia was paid lip service to the Empire, but kind of just, paid lip service to the Empire, and Plutonia, after Plutonia fell, I think Plutonia fell during the flood, I think. Anyway, I had it all set up with why Broncolonia. Oh, and then, of course, the corporation. There's some fun stuff with the corporations, but yeah, Arcana. Um, yeah, I definitely put Broncolonia. And check this out also. It is super cool. I have this. Alright. It is hot, and I need the air. So, it is a little big, but, you know, I'm getting better at that. I had one that was a more reasonable size, but this piece here broke, so now I gotta figure out what to do about that one. But this one is. I had a few others too, I'm sure, that are around that are places. Okay, it is 3:30. I need to get out of here. I'm not gonna have a chance at a lot of stuff, and I have to go to that. So yeah, I basically wasted a lot of time, but so I could keep going with this. But it is fun. I I think we're gonna do something cool with this. I think so. I think we can. So I'm going to leave you to your viewers to say those in the northern hemisphere, hydrate. If you have air conditioning access or basement access, stay inside. Don't go outside in the heat. It's a bad idea. I have to. I'm regretting it. I'm just miserable just thinking about it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Um, Other than that, yeah. If you're in the southern hemisphere, stay warm and well, you lucky bastards. Okay, now we are off. I'm gonna go raiding somewhere. If Karen is still on, I might raid her. I know it's is Sable on? Sable is not on. It looks like. I guess she stopped. Elk. Oh yeah, we're going to Elk. All right. Elk is not. Oh, bring out your words. I didn't do any writing this stream. I just got but I didn't do any word writing, so there is nothing to so no words for me. I suppose I could count this all as research if I were going to do something about it. Maybe if I start writing something, that might be our plan. I'm going to start writing something, and then I can count these streams as research and get double word count. And maybe I want to do some more stuff with it. We'll see. I will question, poke around, see what I can do. In the meantime, live your best lives. No words out for me, but bring out your words if you have them, and then we're going to raid into Elk, who is not a GOT stream. Because it's early yet. I know the tournament's happening, but we are going to go raiding into Elk, because Elk is cool. Okay. cause there's some fun people here. But let's go right into Elk. Wait, why is it? Yeah, we're going to raid Elk. Okay, take care of yourselves, everyone. I will see you all on Tuesday. Or I think we'll do some writing. We're doing a writing stream on Tuesday. Um, we're doing a writing stream on Tuesday, an actual one. We're off to that, but first, let's go raid Elk. Just doing Devil May Cry. I bet it's fun. Let's go. Oof.